Yo siento que algo se mueve.
What the hell?
Uning attori capillo.
It's not that.
Venturing into the woods alone at night can be terrifying. But what happens when you encounter someone or something you'd rather never meet? Like this first encounter, shared by Davy's Dash. Davy's Dash is a channel built on simple goals done the hard way. Get outside, test a bit of kit, and come home with a story worth telling. And in this video, Davy finally gets the break he's been waiting for. With the weather turning in southern Ontario and a few new pieces of gear to try, he hikes 5 kilometers out of town toward Crown Land, looking for a quiet night under open sky. The plan is uncomplicated: a light walk, a stealthy riverside camp, dinner by the water, and sleep. But as night settles and the forest rearranges itself into darkness, that plan begins to unravel. What starts as a small, well-earned escape becomes a night he won't forget.
It's a beautiful day. I did get a little bit overheated because I was trying to push myself a little bit. But I think that's the Lynn River. I'm not sure. It looks beautiful though. So what we'd like to do, like, look at this little spot down here. We'd like to find something like that, I think. But I do have a spot in mind. But yeah, just so much tree cover. I do have the drone on me so that I can scope out where I am and what's around me for this kind of stealth camp.
Davy hit the trail full of excitement to finally be back in the wild, following a narrow path along a clear, chattering river as late-day sun filtered through cedar and maple. He kept moving deeper until a small rise in the shade caught his eye, dry ground, driftwood nearby, and 2 trees spaced just right with a downed log perfect for hanging gear. It felt less like building a camp and more like finding one already waiting for him.
Choice of a pad there, a tent pad here. I'll probably put the fire there and have my tent pad here. Pretty sure that's the way it's gonna play out. So yeah, just beautiful, lovely little river. I mean, when brook trout are jumping, catching flies off the top, it's all the entertainment I need.
When he finally settled on the spot, the camp came together in minutes. No tarp, no tent, just a footprint on the earth, a pad and summer bag lined up beside the river, and his pack lashed out of reach. Cowboy camping at its simplest. A bed under open sky, the hush of Crown Land all around, and the river's steady voice promising a calm night. But little did he know, his night would get anything but calm.
Well, the water's boiled, so we'll see. I can always, I don't think that's enough water. Ouch. All right, well, that's what it looks like. Let's see how it rehydrates. All right, let's go. You know, as soon as you turn on the camera, the action's gonna stop. But the fish in here. So here's my sleeping setup. There's the creek, like, I'm right on it. But these brookies are just jumping, hitting the top water. All the little mosquitoes, gnats and stuff, they hit the water. I mean, they're just feasting right now. And of course I turn the damn camera on and they're nowhere to be found. But yeah, this is my night.
As evening settled in, Davy turned to dinner. It was a quiet, relaxing evening, broken only by the sound of geese overhead and the steady hush of the river nearby. Twilight deepened, and with it came one of those moments that stay with you. A great blue heron drifting upstream, low and silent, before lifting out of sight. The river carried on, rings spreading where brook trout tapped at the surface, reminders that the valley was alive in ways the lens could only partly capture.
Slide into my bag. This is me for the night. And yeah, sun's going down. I've just been sitting here just listening to the trickle of the water, listening to the wildlife. Nobody's been up and down the trail for 2 hours now, which is beautiful. I've got one beer on the go here that I've been sipping for like the last 2 hours. I'm not into it tonight, man. It's not a drinking kind of night. It's just get out, enjoy yourself, enjoy nature, enjoy the sounds, the smells. And yeah, so that's all I have for today, man. It's just a little bit of a boring video. Again, I'm out testing some gear right now. It's just me, nature, and the sun going down. It's time for bed. I will see you all for coffee in the morning. Good night.
With the last light fading, Davy settled in for the night. His sheets were clipped down, knots tightened, and carabiners locked into place. Simple precautions, but enough to make sleep possible when all that separated him from the outside world was a thin sleeping bag and the dark. But some hours later, that fragile sense of security shattered. From a dead sleep, Davy was pulled awake by the sound of movement. Blinking into the darkness, he opened his eyes to see a figure standing just 10 feet away. Headlamp cutting through the night, steel pipe in each hand. And before Davy could even shift in his bag, the stranger killed the light, leaving only silence and shadow. With no idea who this man was or what he wanted, Davy reached for his camera, hitting record, not for content, but as a safeguard. Because whatever was about to happen, he knew it could spiral fast.
It's not that fucking difficult to respect other people, is it? So start showing some fucking respect if you want respect. Do you need my light to help you get out of here?
No.
No? You know how to get out?
Would you mind just giving me a few minutes? I'm still in my sleeping bag.
Why are you in your sleeping bag? You knew there was somebody in a tent here. You knew that. Do you think they're gonna feel comfortable falling asleep in the middle of the night with a fucking stranger 20 feet away? Do you honestly think that? The answer is no. And you wouldn't feel comfortable either, would you?
All right,
no, you wouldn't. Fair enough. Fair enough.
My apologies.
That's fair enough, mate.
My apologies. I will push on.
I already got a hold of fucking RCMP and told them to fucking get over here and deal with their fucking shit. Because I'm sick of this fucking bullshit, mate.
No, that's the homeless guy.
The peace of the night shattered in an instant. What had been quiet woods and the soft rhythm of the river turned into something else entirely. It was clear that Davy was no longer alone. His thoughts must have been racing. Stay calm, avoid confrontation, get out. The kind of calculation you don't expect to make when all you wanted was a quiet night under the stars.
We'll deal with him later. Right now, let's just get out of here. He's all jibbed up or something. And one thing you can't do is trust a fucking jibber. So let's go. I have my fucking beer spray on me. Alright, well, that's where I was sleeping. Until the homeless man with 2 fucking goddamn fucking steel pipes come fucking walking into my camp about 10 feet away from me while I was sound asleep. Well, I guess we know who needs his fucking teeth knocked down his fucking throat now, doesn't he? But that will be a battle for another day. that is not our concern tonight. Our concern tonight is being somewhere safe and getting some kip. So, all right, well, I guess we're shoving off. But that motherfucker had better fucking watch the fuck out, because all I should do is just got up and fucking throttle him. But again, he had 2 steel pipes in his hand 10 feet away from where I was sleeping. And yeah, that's it's not gonna work for me right now, so let's just fucking go.
Adrenaline took over. He stripped down camp in seconds, not with ceremony, but with urgency, forcing himself to keep moving instead of escalating. Every step away was loaded with frustration and unease, but also with the clarity of knowing what mattered most: distance and safety.
You're gonna need to sleep tonight. I need to sleep tonight. So we're looking at 11 o'clock. And being pushed on by a fucking homeless guy with 2 steel pipes. Oh. I just canked my ankle into something. Alright.
Still furious about what had happened, but doing his best to keep that anger in check, Davy hesitated on what the best choice would be. Hiking all those miles back out of the forest in the middle of the night didn't feel right, but the thought of trying to sleep again out here, with the safety of camp already broken, was just as hard to face. Eventually, though, he made his decision. He wouldn't give up on the night. Instead, he pushed on a little further, found a quieter, more hidden spot, and set up again. It wasn't about comfort anymore. It was about disappearing, keeping low, and holding on to some measure of peace.
So yeah, I've calmed down on that incident. I still, like inside me, I still think he needs his teeth kicked down his fucking throat. But we've moved on. We're in a better place. At least now I don't have to worry about some guy standing 10 feet away from me with 2 steel pipes. Like, you know, like pipe fitting pipes, like for gas lines and stuff, you know, like that black iron pipes. That's what he had, 2 of them, 1 in each hand. So at least now I'm not worried about that. We can sleep peacefully and yeah, just enjoy our night. We just want to sleep outside, man. That's all we're trying to do. We're testing some gear and we just want to be outside. So yeah, fuck that jackass, right?
Eventually, morning came but brought little relief. The night had been restless, the air colder than expected, and the ground less forgiving. And in the daylight, a new problem revealed itself. Poison ivy winding through the edges of camp, another reminder that every decision in the wild carries weight. By the time he packed up, he left no trace behind, just a patch of grass standing tall again, the memory of the night his alone to carry. The hike out was steady, deliberate. No panic, no dramatics, just the relief of moving forward and knowing he had made it through. That night had tested him. A stranger with weapons, a forced retreat, a thin bag against the cold, and hazards he couldn't see until it was too late. None of it was what he planned, but all of it was real. And that's the truth of Crown Land camping. The beauty is there, always, but so are the risks. You do your best to stay respectful, you prepare for what you can, and you stay ready to move when the place itself tells you it's time. In the end, Davy still slept under the stars, just not where he first intended. and he left with more than tested gear. He left with lessons and a story he won't soon forget. Davy's night in the Ontario forest showed how quickly a calm trip can turn unpredictable. But while his danger came from another person in the Arctic wilderness, the threat is far more primal. In Kalini, survival depends on respecting the most powerful predator of all, the polar bear. Killiniq, also known as Port Burwell, is one of the most remote places in northern Canada. Located at the northeastern tip of Nunavik, it's a landscape carved by ice and wind, where the Arctic Ocean and Hudson Strait meet. It is a place of solitude and stark beauty, but also a place where survival is a constant negotiation with nature. Among its most powerful residents are the polar bears. These animals roam the coastlines in search of food, covering vast distances and moving silently across the frozen ground. Encounters here are not rare, but they are always dangerous. And in this clip, shared by the channel Northern Lights, owned by an Inuk hunter from Nunavik, we see just how close those dangers can come. While camping in a small cabin, this adventurer found himself face to face with one of the Arctic's most formidable predators, a polar bear pressing against the fragile barrier that separated man from beast.
Tekohan igaramusi. Man ubenet teku. O tekoarga. Kal.
Aku rela o hema ne ma.
Mungkin. Kal.
Suvi.
Sia.
Sama aja.
Uning aktorial kapillo.
The stillness of the wilderness gave way to the raw presence of an animal that dominates this environment, a reminder that out here, humans are never truly in control. But it was not over yet. When morning came, the unease returned. An even larger polar bear seemed drawn to the cabin, curious and unbothered by the human presence inside. For a moment, the encounter felt like it might begin all over again, only this time with a far greater test of nerves. It took a while, but eventually this polar bear too lost interest and slowly wandered away, leaving only its heavy tracks pressed into the earth. Fortunately, the cabin provided a wall of safety, a shield that a tent never could have offered. If this night had been spent under thin fabric instead of solid wood, the story might have ended very differently. Polar bears are the largest land carnivores in the world, capable of weighing over half a ton and breaking through solid barriers with ease. Their bite is stronger than that of a lion, and a single swipe of their paw can shatter bone. Out here, there is no illusion of control, only the fragile line between survival and disaster. Instead, this encounter became a memory, frightening but survivable. Another reminder of why in places like Killinick, respect for nature is not optional. It is the only way to walk away. Escaping danger behind solid cabin walls was enough to keep one hunter alive in Killinick. But cabins carry their own unsettling weight too. Deep in the woods, far from anyone else, Diego discovered just how unnerving one forgotten shelter could be when the night refused to stay quiet. Diego is a guy who truly loves the wilderness. His videos often show him fishing, hiking through dense forests, and camping in remote spots where most people wouldn't even think about spending a night. Nature is his comfort zone. But in this video, he decided to try something a little different, spending the night inside a small, forgotten cabin deep in the woods. People who had been there before claimed it was nearly impossible to make it through the night, saying that strange noises would keep anyone awake. Diego, however, wasn't one to be scared off by stories. He packed his gear, hiked out, and decided to put it to the test himself.
Pasar la noche completamente solo en esta casa donde asustan. Algunas personas que se han quedado afirman que es casi imposible pasar la noche. Ellos han estado acompañados. No me imagino cómo será mi experiencia estando solo. Así que miren todo el video. Lo primero que debo hacer es recorrer por todos estos pastos que son muy bonitos. Como pueden ver, vengo solo. La montaña de noche es bastante tenebrosa, pero es algo que quería hacer desde hace bastantes días. Así que vamos a ver cómo nos va. En temporada de lluvia en el campo los caminos se ponen muy difíciles. Bueno, pero no pasa nada, aquí vamos.
After pushing through mud and tall grass, he finally arrived at the cabin. It was nothing fancy, just an old wooden structure, worn down by weather and time. Still, it was enough to keep the rain away and give him a place to rest. But the moment he stepped inside, reality set in. This wasn't just a cabin in the woods, it was complete isolation. The nearest signs of life were miles away, and the silence of the forest pressed in from all sides. That thought alone made the night ahead feel a little more unsettling.
Casi las 6 de la tarde y ya llegamos. Esta es la casa donde me voy a quedar. Y quiero que me acompañen a hacer un house tour a ver qué encontramos. Bueno, la casa está construida en lo altico, supongo que para evitar culebras. Y las escaleras sí son un poco peligrosas. Al ingresar encontramos dos habitaciones. Acá no hay nada. Acá hay un colchón donde creo que voy a pasar la noche. Y lo mejor, aquí hay un fogón. Así que vamos a prender candela porque tengo bastante frío.
By the time night fell, Diego was preparing to settle down. But almost immediately, the calm of the forest was broken. Strange sounds began echoing through the trees, sharp enough to jolt him out of any sense of comfort. Every creak and whistle carried differently out here, where there were no other noises to drown them out. He lay still, listening, realizing that getting to sleep wasn't going to be as simple as he thought.
Hace las 8 de la noche y no quiero parecer dramático, pero escuché que alguien silbó, así como cuando saludan, tipo... Y ya silbó una vez y me dio un poquito de miedo. Espero que sea un ave, o si no, no puedo dormir. Siendo ya las 9 de la noche, después del silbido escuché un árbol caerse, un árbol muy grande, pero dentro de la montaña, se escuchó muy lejos. Escuché cómo iba cayendo y partiendo otros árboles. Y ya, quedó todo en silencio total. Vamos a ver más adelante, espero no escuchar más ruido.
Maybe the whistle was just a bird in the distance. Maybe the crash of a tree was only the wind. But then there was another sound, something heavier, something deliberate. This wasn't the random noise of the forest. And at that moment, Diego understood why people said it was impossible to rest here. The forest wasn't just alive with animals. It felt like it was watching.
escucho mi cabeza en el techo. Yo siento que algo se mueve. Y escucho. Parece que las tablas se abrieran. Hay movimiento. Parce, tengo mucho miedo. No sé si es la madera la que intentar. Parece ser la madera. La madera de la madera con la que está construida esta cabaña. De pronto se está abriendo. La verdad, yo vine fue a esto. Ya me puse las botas. Y voy a salir a ver qué encuentro en el techo. Y le voy a dar vuelta a la casa. Que no hay nada.
When he finally worked up the courage to check, the woods outside seemed empty. Nothing moved, no figures waited in the shadows. But the sound from above told a different story. Something, whatever it was, had been walking on the roof. Maybe an animal searching for shelter, or maybe something else. Either way, the thought of being trapped inside while something lingered just feet above his head was enough to unsettle anyone. Imagine being alone, miles from help, listening to whistles in the night, trees falling nearby, and footsteps above your only place of safety. It's not hard to see why people avoid this cabin, or why they say sleep here never comes easy. And yet, somehow Diego managed what many claimed was impossible. He faced the unease, pushed through the fear, and stayed the night. In the end, he did what others couldn't. He slept under that roof until morning. Diego managed to endure the unease of strange noises above his head. But sometimes the fear isn't in what you hear. It's in what stays close, watching from the dark. That's exactly what Gaz and his dog Fendi would face when their quiet forest camp took an unexpected turn. Grizzly Gaz is a channel built on adventure, resilience, and the quiet pull of the outdoors. And in this video, Gaz heads out on a stealth camping trip, joined by his loyal dog Fendi. The plan is simple: set up camp deep in the forest, spend the night under the trees, and enjoy the peace that only nature can offer. But as the sun goes down and darkness settles in, the calm of the woods begins to change. Strange sounds, shifting shadows, and unexpected visitors make the night anything but ordinary.
I've forgotten how to do it. Forgotten how to do all this YouTube shizzle. Anyway, let's get hammock set up. Right, let's do the first sit test, shall we? Now you always have it a bit higher, because when you sit in it, it should stretch. There we go. Alright mate, what are you doing? Okay. Might higher that end up a bit. Looks a bit lopsided to me, mate. What do you think?
The forest feels calm at first. Gaz sets up camp, adjusting his hammock, building a fire, and preparing to settle in. Fendi stays close, curious and playful, her nose to the ground as she explores the campsite. For now, the mood is calm, and the quiet of the woods feels peaceful and comforting. It's the kind of stillness that makes adventures like this worth it, before the forest decides to remind you how quickly things can change. But beneath the calmness of nature, it becomes clear that this trip is about more than just camping. Gaz takes the time to open up about some of the struggles he's been facing, and how the quiet of the woods helps ease the weight he carries. Out here, away from everything, he finds space to breathe. It isn't always easy, but being in nature brings him a sense of comfort. And so, he does his best to stay positive and focus on the simple fact that he's finally back outside, doing what he loves.
Oh, you farted and all, aren't you? Oh, you little scruff bag. Yeah, you. It's getting dark now as well. It's going on 8:30, so let's get my little sticks in here. Get them going. No better than just chilling out with a fire, is there? Eh? As long as you do it in a controlled manner and you're not lighting fires in fields and moorlands and all that sort of stuff. Just heard a rock splash down there in the stream. That was pretty odd. Getting paranoid now, it's night time.
As night takes over, the fire crackles softly, throwing light against the trees. But then a distinct sound in the stream nearby catches his attention. It could be animals. It could be something else. Either way, the peace of the campsite is gone, replaced with unease. Gaz tries to brush it off with a few jokes, keeping the mood light, but the tension is there all the same, lingering in the background.
Can you even see her? Let me turn the light on. There we go. Oh, you farted, you little scruff. Don't get your ass too close to that, mate. It'll will explode. Just heard a rock again in that stream. Do you reckon it's them American crayfish doing some star jumps or something, and squats? It's full of them in here. Signal crayfish. The fire's died down now, so me and Fendi are just gonna chill out for a bit and just enjoy the peace and quiet. That's my view. That's Fendi's view.
Gaz does his best not to let his mind run away with him, trying to shake off the unease before it takes hold. But the feeling doesn't quite leave. Every so often, the crack of a branch or the shift of shadows makes him pause, listening harder than he wants to admit. It's as if the forest itself is holding its breath, and somewhere out in the dark, unseen eyes are fixed on him. He tells himself it's nothing, just the tricks of the night, but deep down, he can't escape the sense that he isn't as alone as he hoped to be.
What's that there? Fucking cows, look. Motherfucker. Oh, they've got horns. Can you see them? For fuck's sake. Stay there, Fendi. Oh, for fuck's sake, man.
When Gaz finally discovered it was only cows lingering near his camp, it brought a rush of relief. But the feeling was only partial. The tension that had built through the night didn't simply vanish, and getting rest felt impossible. Even knowing the source, the unease lingered, as though the darkness around him still held something unseen, something that refused to let him truly settle.
Ah, this has turned into an interesting night then, hasn't it? People always say that, you know, that I fake stuff in my videos. I mean, how do you fake stuff like this? Cows aren't even supposed to be in this field. I'm not going to be able to settle now for a bit. You're not either, are you, mate? Ones with horns, look. Our pendulum hammock there, look. Oh, we're still hanging about, look. See, eyes. Right, that's it. I'm doing one. Can't be arsed with these cows. I need to get away from them. They're going to be here all night because grass is just well long. We've got a buffet down here and they're just going to be bothering me all night.
The cows linger, drawn to the tall grass around the camp. For Gaz, it was clear there will be no rest here. Between the unpredictable animals and the strange noises that came before them, the forest felt unsettled tonight. He made the decision to pack up and move, choosing caution over comfort. In the end, what started as a quiet camping trip turned into a night full of tension. Not because of ghosts or folklore, but because the wilderness has its own way of keeping you on edge. For Gaz, the reminder is simple. When you step into nature, you're never truly in control. Out here, the night decides how the story ends. For Gaz, the night ended with uneasy laughter and restless silence. But in some places, what lingers in the dark feels far less explainable. In an isolated jungle home, one man found himself staring into eyes that glowed from the tree line. And what followed was even harder to forget. In the heart of a dense, isolated forest, where the canopy swallows the light and silence presses in like a weight, a man noticed a sound that didn't belong. At first, it was faint, branches shifting, a low rustle in the darkness. But when he looked outside, he saw it.
Frickin' thing, it's staring at me. It followed me home from the gifting rock. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning right now. I think I don't know what to do.
Something was standing there among the trees, still and deliberate, its eyes glowing unnaturally against the night. And the worst part, it wasn't just watching the forest, it was watching him. Shaken, he tried to dismiss it, forcing himself back into bed, hoping sleep would wash the fear away. But hours later, the sound returned, louder, heavier. This time, it was coming from above. Whatever had been standing in the trees was now on his roof. The noises thudded and scraped, as though something massive was shifting its weight just feet above his head. There it was again. The same figure, perched high on the roofline, its glowing eyes staring back down at him. Summoning every ounce of courage, he went to the other side of the house in hope to confront it. For Nikki, on a solo wild camping trip, the fear came slowly and stayed with her, etched into the silence of the forest and the feeling that something was always just out of sight. This is Nikki, the creator behind the popular channel Nikki TV. She's well known for her camping and adventure videos, often heading out into the wilderness on her own to share the beauty and sometimes the dangers of wild camping. But on February 9th, 2025, one of those trips took an unsettling turn she would not soon forget.
Let's go camping. But first, we gotta stop, get food, get gas. That's it. And then we're got a very, very long, slow off-roading experience ahead. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited, a little nervous. I have about 8 miles off-road into the backcountry that I'm going to be taking, and yeah, I drove off-road in the backcountry before, but these roads get a little sketchy. If you don't know, I'm from Western North Carolina, and we were hit with a Hurricane Helene back in September of last year, and the damages they're extreme. But yeah, so some of the roads are a little rutted and messed up from the rain and the mudslides and the trees that fell over. But yeah, I'm a little nervous. I got it.
After a long drive, Nikki arrived at what seemed like the perfect spot, a small clearing tucked deep within the trees, quiet and remote. She wasted no time setting up camp, organizing her gear, and preparing a warm meal to give her strength for the night ahead. The atmosphere was calm, almost peaceful, and before the sun disappeared, she decided to explore the area on foot. It was meant to be a short, simple hike, but almost immediately, it became clear this would not be like her usual evening walks.
I think I'm gonna walk up the road, or this road, just to see what's around that little corner right there. I don't know how far I'll go, but yeah, it's about time to build a fire too, so let's do it. Got the trusty dusty bear spray. Heard some knocking coming from that direction. Kind of sound like somebody knocking on a tree. Could have been a woodpecker or anything like that, I guess. But I don't hear it now, so we'll just forget that. It's gonna start getting dark soon, so I'm gonna get my lights out and get them ready for me to turn them on. That way I don't have to be searching.
The forest, beautiful as it was, carried an eerie stillness. And then, breaking through the quiet, came a sound, sharp, rhythmic, deliberate. Knocking. It echoed faintly among the trees, out of place and unsettling. Nikki's instincts told her it was time to head back. At camp, she strung up lights to push back the darkness and even called her husband to join her, hoping his presence would help. But the uneasy feeling never truly faded. It was as if unseen eyes were fixed on them from the shadows just beyond the light.
Big, though. It's huge. It's a big old trap. Compared to my foot. Compared to yours, but it's still big.
As long as it's right here. Like you said.
Yeah. Shine your headlight down in there so we can get a better view of it. Be careful. Look up at those trees, son. That's just piles and piles of trees.
Okay, see?
Yeah, see, they cut that, and I cut that to clear the road. But they got the gate closed.
While moving through the woods together, they came across something that stopped them cold. A footprint, larger and more defined than anything they expected to find out there. It was strange, out of place, and only deepened the unease that had already taken hold. And then came something even harder to ignore. Fleeting glints in the camera lens, reflections that hinted at movement where no one should have been. The silence around them grew heavier, pressing in with every step, until the thought of staying out any longer no longer seemed safe. Eventually, they returned to their tent, doing their best to rest through a night that never felt comfortable. By morning, the decision was easy. They packed their gear quickly and left the woods behind, carrying with them questions that will likely never have answers. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, click to see more on the video on screen.